Hey guys, thanks for joining me for another Disney Lorcana video, and today we're going to do another market watch. I'm going to start with just a couple of generic cards that I want to point out that are kind of spiking, and then we are going to, for most of this video, focus on the coconut format, which I had talked about in the previous video, and talk about what the implications are and some cards you might want to get a jump start on, maybe looking at picking up some copies of to make sure that you're prepared for this format, because I think this coconut format is going to affect the market greatly, right? So let's just start with some general stuff. Gaston, Superior Archer, we've talked about him before on the channel. Cold foils were around $5 to $6, but now Gaston shooting up to the $8 to $10 range solidly. And you can see high volume sales here on Gaston. So yeah, Gaston is continuing to go up. Angel is going even further beyond. We just talked about Angel going up to 35. Angel is now at 55. So Angel just going absolutely ballistic. If you still have some Angels, you might want to consider selling those because I don't know. I mean, Angel is getting into Dumbo range, which is kind of crazy to me. I really don't know that I could see it going further like past 60. So I feel like right now is a really good time to be selling Angels if you're not planning to use them, right? Aerial Ethereal Voice. This is one I missed on the last market watch. But this card, I mean, this is like a dollar card and is now like $10-ish. And the thing with this is Steel Song has kind of taken a back seat in modern play for the most part, and it's mainly been for Infinity. But now with the new rotation and some of the new cards, Steel Song is making a strong comeback. So that's why this Aerial Ethereal Voice is up to like $10. And then Malin Lee, who I had been talking about previously, I did not realize that when I actually went and read her afterwards, I thought she was just for the Panda deck, but she searches for a Panda or a Song. So she's kind of like the modern replacement for the Aerial Spectacular Singer. So she does the same thing. Top 4, look for Song. She just doesn't have Singer 5 on her. So she's a great modern replacement for Aerial Spectacular Singer. So that's why Malin Lee has had value, right? Now, the Epic has actually gone down a little bit. So now might be a good time to be picking up the Epic. It's gone down to about $12. It was at $16. So that's an interesting pickup if you want to get really nice copies. And then the regular Malin Lees, right? The regular rares are about $3 a piece. So before I had said I didn't think her price was going to stick, but now realizing she's for generic Steel Song, yes, her price is definitely going to stick because Steel Song is going to be heavily played. It's a very popular deck. And then here with the cold foils, if you notice, cold foils are only like $3.50. So with this Malin Lee, I would 100% just be picking up cold foils. Why would I pay, 30 cents less to get a non-foil when I can just get the cold foil? So yeah, I would be picking up cold foils and Malin Lee if you're interested in the modern day Steel Song deck. All right, next we're going to talk about coconut format. Now, a couple of things with coconut. I'm not going to like re-explain the format. I have a whole video on that. Just check out my video from yesterday on that if you want to kind of know what it is. But it's essentially a commander format based off of Magic the Gathering's Commander, but it's for Lorcana. Now, a couple of things I want to clear up. There's two things that I've already started getting comments that people don't like. One is people think that coconut is like a weird name, and I agree with it. That's a weird name. My understanding after kind of looking into it a little bit more is that coconut is just like the beta code word for it. I don't think it's actually going to be called coconut format. We're going to call it that for now because that's the only name we have. But be rest assured, if you think coconut's kind of a silly name, which I think it is as well, that's probably going to change. And then another comment I've been seeing from a couple people is they don't like that the coconut, like the leader cards or the commanders, right now they're only digital, they're only on the app. Once again, I think that's connected to just being in beta right now. They just want to wait for people to test it out. And then I think because what they could see is that some of these initial coconut leaders, they could be like really overly busted and like too powerful. So they need people to play test so that they can balance the cards first. And then when they actually officially launch it, I think it'll have a different name. They will probably physically print the leader cards, and they're probably going to make commander decks just like Magic. They're going to give you a full deck with the leader in there and then like a full deck that you can play with, right? So I think that's definitely what they're going to do, because also a lot of these coconuts or these leader cards, a lot of them are old cards that haven't been reprinted, right? Like some like this Ursula Deceiver of All is out of set 3. The only reprint it has is a very expensive D23 promo. So if they expect people to play this format, they're going to have to give people new access to the card. That being said, I think there's a window early on for people that want to play the beta where I think some of these old cards are going to start to shoot up in price a little bit. You're going to have to temper your expectations on how you want to play this, though, because like I said, I think there's a very good chance that when it officially launches, one, the current leaders might not even be the actual leaders. So you could be buying into a card that might end up not even being a coconut leader. And then the other thing is what I think they're going to make coconut decks when they launch it. And once again, it's probably not going to be called coconut. We'll call it commander deck, but they're probably going to make commander decks, and they're probably going to have the commander and 4 copies of the commander in the deck guaranteed. So just a couple of things to think about. So I just want to take a look at some of the cards that are coconuts or they are commander leaders and see what they're doing. So Ursula, Deceiver of All, is one that really stood out to me. The leader for this seems incredibly powerful because the leader makes it so that all of your cards essentially get Singer +1 on everything that they do, and Ursula's get Singer 2. And Ursula, Deceiver of All, the base card, which you get to use 4 of in the deck, whenever she sings a song, she essentially gets to sing it twice, and this character is going to act as having Singer 5. So you're going to have access to 3, 4, and 5, like very powerful songs. For 4 of this to be in your deck to be singing twice is really powerful. So I see this as being a big one. Now, it's very early. Coconut just got announced, so there hasn't been a lot of time for movement. So most of these cards, you're not going to see like skyrocketing prices, but I want to point these out because there's a lot of movement. If we look here, yesterday, 52 Ursulas sold, and you can see compared to the previous graph, not very many sold. If we actually go into the sales on Ursula here, you can see somebody bought 4 of them at $1. Cold foils going at about $4. This person bought 2. If we go down, somebody bought 30 of them at $2.20. So somebody dropped $60 on Ursula's. So they're like, yep, I'm going to be ready. And if Ursula goes up, this person's going to have 30 of them to punt and make a profit on. But there's a little bit of risk, like I said, because we don't know if the format's going to take off. I think it will because of how successful Commander is in Magic. But once again, we don't know, like when it officially launches, they're probably going to make, if this Ursula sticks as a Commander, they're going to probably print an Ursula deck, and it's going to have 4 Ursula Deceiver of Alls. Because once again, this is a very old card without a reprint. They're going to have to give players new access to these cards. So once again, if you're going to make plays on these, so what I would say for sure is if you just want to be ready for it, the cards are cheap enough. If you're interested in playing the coconut format, I would just get your play set of 4 for now, just to make sure you have them while they're cheap. But if you want to make a play on it and buy a bunch, I would sell quick as soon as it goes up, because as soon as they announce they're going to make commander decks, they're probably going to go back down again, right? I would also be looking at the cold foil Ursula. This one is probably a safer buy-in in terms of investment, just because if they reprint it in a commander deck, it's probably not going to be cold foil. So the cold foils have a much stronger safety net for holding value. So if you want to buy in the stuff is like an investment for the coconut format that I want to make money, you might want to go into cold foil. It looks like cold foils, it looks like 2 of them sold yesterday. This is about a $5-ish cold foil, but then quickly shooting up to 7, then 8, right? So there's only a couple of listings left at about $5, and they're quickly up to 8. So if you might want to pick up the cold foils if you want to make a long-term play on that. Ariel Spectacular Singer. So this is the one I was just talking about. This is basically why Malin Lee is worth money right now, because Malin Lee is essentially the same as this card, but just doesn't have the Singer 5. But now for Coconut, it's an infinity format. So this is going to be a staple in the song deck, and this Ariel Spectacular Singer has a coconut, it has a leader, so you're going to need 4 of these in the deck. The reason I point this out, it is only a super rare, but it is right now only printed in set 1. And back when set 1 was the only deck out, this was a $10 to $15 card. It was an expensive super rare, and we've seen modern super rares start to kind of go crazy. So I would just be looking, look at the volume of sales here. 13 items just like really high charted here. I know 13 doesn't sound like a lot, but compared to like how many of these sell previously, like 13's a lot for one day. Let's see if anybody bought big chunks. So yeah, someone bought 3, someone bought 2, 4. Like you can see, people are starting to hit on this. So I need to point this out to you now that once again, if you need your play sets, I would be looking and start to pick this stuff up, because I think there's going to be an immediate FOMO on this. and people are going to be buying these out like crazy. And like I said, I think if you buy in now, you'll guarantee your sets of these. And then if you want to buy in on a bunch of them, get them in the mail. By the time you get them in the mail, these are probably already going to be like well above what you paid for them. You might be able to flip them really quick. Moana Curious Explorer, this is one that does have a commander. And right now, she is only like $7, which for like a modern, very good legendary, I mean, this is kind of what, you know, Wilds Unknown and Attack of the Vine legendaries do. But I would consider her right now like a top legendary still from Winterspell, even though she's only $7. Winterspell does have ones that are worth more than her, but she's one that on launch, she was like a $25 card. Like her and Angel were neck and neck. Obviously, Angel's insane right now, but Blue right now is not doing well in core, right? In modern format, but in coconut format, Blue could be very good, and you get 3 colors. So you're not just depending on Blue. So you could play this Moana deck, and you're going to have 4 of her in the deck. She's going to let you ink from your inkwell. And then if you have, it's like 3 different, there's like, it's what, Pua, Hey Hey, or Moana. Like if you have any of those, you can ink twice in a turn. So she's going to be a really good ramp card for coconut. And then you're not fully dependent on Blue. You can play 2 other really powerful colors with it that you just want to ramp with. So this Moana, I think, is going to go up for coconut, because I think she will be a played commander. So you might want to look at getting her if that kind of deck sounds interesting to you. Get your playset of Moanas. Mufasa. So this was a very popular legendary when it first came out. Very interesting effect. Does need a lot of ink to play, but the commander version of this allows you to get 3 ink very early on. So like it helps you ramp really quick. Because of how popular this Mufasa is, has beautiful artwork. The Enchanted of this is the best Enchanted out of Shimmering Skies in terms of price point. I would just be looking at this because people love this card and want to be able to play it. And because it now will have a commander, getting these at $150 is a really good deal. So like this and that Ursula Deceiver of All, under $2, you're pretty safe to invest in those. Because even if they do get reprinted, they can't really drop much lower than $1.50 or whatever you're paying for them now. So I would be picking up some Mufasas. You could be looking at, once again, cold foils for these as well. I think the cold foils on these, I didn't pull it up, but I think these cold foils are a little spendier. Actually, 4 isn't bad. Oh, I thought these would be higher. I would absolutely be picking up Mufasas at $4. Yeah, I would be picking up these cold foils. I thought they were more like 10. But yeah, only $4. I would pick up some Mufasa cold foils for sure. Snow White. So Snow White, I think, has people that really like her and her decks. She's going to have a very interesting commander. And there are tons of 7 dwarf characters that are going to fill this deck of ton. And you can play all 3 colors. So to me, the Snow White is almost built for coconut, because we've got all of the good steel ones, we've got all of the good amber ones, and then we've got all of these new amethyst ones. So you're going to be playing that as your 3 colors. You're going to be filling up with 7 dwarves. I think this is going to be an incredibly fun deck. Snow White, uber cheap, 60 cents, like under $1, right? So you're super safe to just pick these up, because even if they don't go up like crazy, you're not out a lot of money and you have them. This person has 3 of them at 82 cents. So you could just pick this up and have your play set. The foil is a little bit more of an interesting play, because this is an extended art. This one is a very safe investment, because definitely if they reprint this in a deck, they're not going to put the extended art in it. This has solidly been a $10-ish card, hasn't really moved much on the market. It's actually gone down over time. At $10, you could pick these up. There's a couple of people that have 2s, so you could just, get 2 from this guy, 2 from this guy. After shipping and stuff, you're probably like, they'll add some extra fees on the end, but it'll probably be like $43 to $45. You could have a playset of this in foil. This has the potential for massive growth if this deck takes off in commander format. So just keep your eye on that one. Brave Little Tailor has a commander, and I think it's insanely busted. And there's even, I have questions on how the rulings would be, but it makes it so all of your Mickey Mouses, I've got to pull up another card, by the way, but this makes it so all of your Mickey Mouses have shift 2. So they all can shift for 2. Now, this guy's already been creeping up because he's a collectible. I've been talking about him. This guy's got 4 of them for 11. Pick up this playset. I'm not going to buy this. If you see this playset's probably a pretty good one to pick up. To be able to get a playset of Brave Little Tailors. I think this deck's going to be crazy. And you know what card is going to be crazy with it? We're going to look it up right now. I'm just going to type it in here. I forgot to pull this up. I think this guy's going to be... Now, you're only going to have 1 of these in the deck. But this guy is going to be crazy in this commander deck. You're going to be running the Brave Little Prince for sure. Once again, you're only going to be able to get 1 of them. But the thing with this guy that's crazy is he's a 3 cost with a shift 5. So very rare that he actually costs more to shift. But he's evasive. And while he has a card under him, so i.e. you've shifted him, he's +3 attack, +3 willpower, +3 lore. So he quests for 4 and is evasive. In this commander deck, this guy is a shift 2. So you can actually bring him out cheaper and then get all of these crazy effects. And then the other one I want to pull up that I think will be interesting in this deck. And then this is the one. Whoops, wrong one. I don't want to search Google. I want to search here. This one. This one, I'm not sure how they're going to rule it. So this guy has duo shift 0, which means you have to have a Mickey and a Minnie to shift it. But the way I think this reads, this to me is considered a Mickey Mouse card. So I think in addition to duo shift, this guy would just get a generic shift 2. And then I think with a generic shift 2, I think this could shift on a Mickey or a Minnie for 2. If anybody's heard any rulings about it, it's very early, it's in the beta, so I don't know if there are rulings. But if this guy can generically just shift for 2 on a Mickey or a Minnie and you don't need both, that makes this card even better also. And it's going to help you ramp in that deck. So if you do put this card in the deck though, it means you're committing to red, green, blue, but you're probably going to want those colors anyways because that's where the Mickeys are going to be. So very interesting. Like, I'm just like super excited about this format. Like, the possibilities are crazy here. Scar, this guy has a commander. Don't know how heavily it's going to be played, but I do have to point him out because he is a legendary from Fabled. So remember, Fabled is a very expensive product to get into. He has been slowly rising already. So I would be getting these Scar sooner rather than later, especially if you want to play the commander format. He's about $4 right now. But once again, being from Fabled, you can't repopulate this and rip open a bunch of packs. It's very expensive to get into. So just keep your eye on the Scar. All right, now I'm going to point out some cards that they're not actually commanders, so you can only use 1 of them in the deck. So while they may go up in price, it's not going to be as crazy as the ones you need 4 of. But these are just like classic staple cards. So Diablo, this is a very good draw engine for decks with Emerald. So about $7 to $8 right now. Maybe worth picking up a single copy just to have. Rapunzel, incredibly good draw engine. Once again, we talk about legendary cards that draw, but she's a healing draw engine for a deck. So I think pretty much any Amber commander deck will probably want this in there just to have cards to be able to draw. So she's 12 to 13, which for older cards, they're still pricing out fairly well, but they're only going to go higher. And Rapunzel being only from first chapter, right? She does have an expensive like tournament reprint, full art. They have to go to a DLC to get, so a very expensive reprint. So this character doesn't have a cheap reprint, right? And then Beast Tragic Hero, once again, very popular steel card back in the day. Has a lot of potential attack power, but mainly this is a legendary can draw cards. He's sitting at like the $6 to $7 to $8 range. So they're not like the cheapest right now, but they have potential for growth because you're opening up a new format where people are going to want these cards. So just some cards to be looking at there, right? And then I want to end it with Popsicle. So there is a Nick Wilde commander, and it allows you to use 4 Popsicles in the deck. And for item decks, Popsicle is like one of the most good consistent cards you can use because it's a simple draw card and it puts itself in the discard and can heal, and there's a lot of Tamatoas and things that play out of the discard. I didn't pull them up, but like we'll do it quick at the end because I've done this before where I've talked about cards and then not pulled them up. We'll pull up because I just thought of like some Tamatoas you might want to be looking at for this format. So Popsicle specifically, Popsicle is going to be really cheap for commons, but cold foils might be what you want to look to pick up. Right now, $1.50 cold foil. If Popsicle takes off in this format, I could very easily see this being a $5 to $6 cold foil. It could very much be in like that Bobby range, right? Just a very staple common that people want to run. So just keep your eye on cold foil Popsicles. If you're a fan of item decks and want to play it in this format, you might want to get your cold foil Popsicles. And then, as I mentioned before, Tamatoa is a very popular character for item decks. So you would want to be looking at this guy. You would want to be looking at this guy. Potentially, well, we won't look at that. We're going to look at the older ones. So these are ones that have cycled out that now could jump up, right? This Tamatoa in its heyday was a $40, $50 card when I think, what was it, like red blue decks were like the top deck, or it was like steel blue because you still could use Fortisphere. Yeah, this is going to be a card that definitely could go up. Once again, decks are only going to need one of these. So right now, $6.50, and I'm on cold foil right now, so it's actually going to be cheaper. Yeah, I'm filtered the cold foil. Oh, interesting. It's the same price. So non-foils are $6.50. Dude, I'm going to pick up some cold foil Tamatoas. Yeah. Cold foil Tamatoa is like the same, almost, there's like 3 of them that are around the same price as a regular. So I would definitely be picking up a cold foil Tamatoa. And then this one from first chapter, this one's only a super rare. This one, cold foil, is about $5. And if we look at the non-cold foils, yeah, 50 cents. So a very easy pickup. Just, you know, I don't think this is going to go up a ton because it's already just a 50-cent card. You're only going to need one. Cold foils at 5 are actually still a little spendy on this guy too, but this guy is like, this guy was the big, like in the early game before we shifted rotations, this guy was a big staple in item decks. I think that Nick Wild deck is going to want both of these Tamatoas in it. So once again, if you're interested in the item deck, I would secure your copy, at least get one of each of these Tamatoas, get your 4 Popsicles, and that's a great start to the deck. So anyways, guys, let me know what you think. Let me know if you're excited about this new format. Once again, the name will likely not be Coconut in the final. I think they will physically print the commanders or the leader cards. Right now, they're just using the app for beta testing. If you like these types of videos, please like and subscribe to the channel. I do have a Discord if you'd like to join and have some conversations with me and other Lorcana players. That is posted in the description of all my videos. Thanks for watching. We'll catch y'all on the next one.